wants high schoolers to take 4 years of math and 3 years of science to stay competitive in this global economy. Is that needed?
Well, almost all students should take 4 years of math and 3 years of science, or 4 years of science for that matter, but not all. Not everybody has the same talents or the same aptitudes. If a student passes the Ames test, that means a student has elementary algebra, geometry, statistics, probability, number sense, and then if they want to go into the things that they're interested in, they may be literary or artistic, they ought to be able to do that. But most of the kids should take 4 years of math and 4 years of science. I think that we should push very hard in that direction.
What do you think?
I think at the same time of increasing those requirements, we need to take a look at the diversity of program as well. Are we going to be having all students on a pathway to calculus? I don't know if that's necessarily the case, calculus being the end result right before you go on to a 4-year university. Not all students are on that same path. And so we need to take a look at what other program are we offering inside the high schools to support the learning in math and science. Taking a look at fine arts, taking a look at world languages, those things that entertain the other parts of the brain in order to make math and science learning easier. And perhaps we'll get to the more effective use of time and don't have to take a look at extending more and more credits and more requirements for students who have more going on in their day.
Well, in particular, when we know that there's research out there that suggests that the correlation of music skills and math skills go hand in hand, I think Chris is right. And I know that Tom is a proponent of fine art standards. And what we're talking about is the full education of a student whose destiny has not yet been set by the age of 16 or 17. Schools need to be funded to the point. The investment needs to be large enough to offer them the flexibility of what to offer students. Because we're never going to live in a society where reading, writing, and math are enough. They're essential, but they're not enough.
Educate the full student. And that's what you're going to be talking about next Wednesday. You're on the State of Education address. You'll be addressing the Senate.
It'll actually be a joint committee of the Senate and House Education Committees.
Okay.
And partly, one of the themes will be what has just been mentioned, and that is, you know, we have some passing fads. A few years ago it was reading and math, now it's science and math. Let's not forget the arts, and let's not forget history. History is to a country as memory is to an individual. If an individual loses his memory, he doesn't know where he's been, he doesn't know where he's going, and he can't solve his immediate problems. We have to have a full, rich curriculum in reading and math and science and history and the arts, and that's one of the things we have to push hard for.
And what kind of proposals are you looking at?
Well, one of the things is individual learning plans, so that every student starting in the 7th grade sets out forth a plan. If the student wants to go to college, he knows or she knows how rigorous a curriculum needs to be taken to be admitted in college. We've been working on this for 4 years actually as part of our high school reform effort, and now we're going to be proposing a statewide web-based system for individual learning plans. So students who want to go to college will be sure to take as rigorous a curriculum as they need. Students who want to go into something right after high school, that also requires strong intellectual skills in today's economy, so they'll know what they need to do to prepare themselves for the skills needed in whatever it is they want to go into.
In my research, I've seen a lot of online education. It seems like that's really, we're seeing that expanded across the valley. Is that working?
As long as we remember that technology is a tool, and that in education there's going to be human relationships that need to be formed inside of this. Technology is a very effective tool, but is it going to take over the classroom? There needs to be judgment inside the use of this technology, and I believe that's given from a mature functioning adult in society to a younger one who's coming up. There's a lot of technology out there, and we've got to go through it to make sure that what we're using inside the classroom is appropriate and students are meeting the outcomes that we expect them to attain before they enter society as a full adult.
Andrew, what do you think our state of education is?
Well, I think that that's absolutely right. We are educating within the context of a rapidly changing society, and of course technology is one driver of that. And Chris is absolutely right. Technology as a tool will never be more important than the intellectual coaching and the capacity to develop a student's intellect, and that is brought by the teacher. We are finished with the age in schools, and I think this is one of our biggest challenges, where the information flows through the gate of a teacher. Tomorrow's teacher will be an intellectual coach, will help students in an increasingly mechanized and technological world still make sense of all that information. And you can never replace that higher level agent of change within a student's own development. We face a lot of challenges, and Our ability to allow the profession to change with the larger context means we're going to have to invest in professional development for teachers, a career plan that allows the teacher to develop just as the student is through school, and I think the emphasis on how we deliver individualized education as much as we possibly can is something that we can build into our public schools, but it's going to take the investment.
At the Department of Education, we have something called IDEAL, which is a single portal for entry into the web-based aids. Professional development for teachers. We have thousands of streaming videos where a teacher can see how another teacher taught the same thing. We're going to have advanced placement courses for students in remote areas that don't have advanced placement courses in their own school. They're going to be able to take those online through the Department of Education. We're going to be able to have communication with parents so that parents can keep up with how the kids are doing, what their homework is, so they can check. They don't have to rely on the student saying, I've done my homework. They can go online and see what the homework is, what the grades are so far. So we're really on the cutting edge, making technology available to students, teachers, the public in general, through IDEAL, which is our single portal.
People are still stuck on the fact that Arizona is still ranked at the bottom as far as education and test scores. But you're saying that, Tommy, you've said that we have improved tremendously.
Well, our students are above the national average now in their national test scores. And that's one of the things I'll be talking about in the last 30 seconds, so I don't want to say too much about it now, but it's a myth that Arizona is last. Actually, Arizona is above average in what the kids are learning. We're last in what we're spending. You can't confuse what we spend with what the kids are learning, and I think it's a tribute to Arizona schools that even though they don't have the best resources, and we need to increase their resources, the students are learning enough so that they're performing above the national average in their test scores.
Okay, the State of the Education Address, Wednesday at 9 a.m. We'll be listening. The sugary sweets that some kids love so much have melted away in some schools. Well, how well has the junk food ban worked in our schools, and what's been the financial impact? We'll be right back. Stay with us.